Good morning. This is Pastor Frank, and it's our early morning Bible study. And I want to encourage you to join us. And as we get started here, we'll be talking about a time of change and decision. So I always ask everybody, if you will, when you join us, let us know you're there so we can say hi. You say hi to us, we'll say hi to you. Like the stream. If you like it, it gets out there a lot further. So just click like, and it helps us get out there further. And if you will, share that with others when they get online. If you have a question, feel free to ask the question. It takes us just a couple of minutes to see that, but we can usually not too far ahead if we get a chance to answer the question. So this morning, we're going to be talking about a time of change and decision. And if you, one of the scripture portions that I want to use is Matthew chapter 21, verses 1 through 11. And there again, when you get online, just click like, share it if you can. Let's get it out there as far as we can. And I pray that God can use just what we're sharing this morning to touch others, help our conversation to touch others. And I see my mother's online, several friends. That's great. I appreciate y'all being there. Sister Gail, I hope y'all are feeling better. And we're still praying for you. So we're going to be talking about a time of change and decision. And the disciples, Jesus' disciples, had been on quite a journey for about 3 years. They had left their jobs. They had chose to follow Jesus and had experienced many things that over the years that people before them, generations before them, hadn't experienced and hadn't even thought possible. They seen many miracles, seen calm storms. Some people walk on water. Peter actually walked on water himself. They had healed the sick. They had raised the dead, cast out devil, fed thousands of people with a few fish and a couple of loaves of bread. They had no visible means of support. And I might mention, it doesn't seem that they went around collecting funds. Several places it mentioned that people helped them. And it's very apparent that there was a pretty good level of support for them, but you don't see in the scriptures them actually raising funds. But they had no visible means of support. They had no permanent address. Just think what if you had to fill out a resume, or let's say you had to fill out an application to buy a house today. Just think what that would look like, okay? I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. I can't tell you what my exact qualifications are. I can't tell you how much I make. Can't tell you where I'm going to be tomorrow. You know, it would be ludicrous to try to do. But so these guys have been on quite a journey. However, after 3 years, all of the things that Jesus had told them was coming to pass. Now, I think many of us have been Christians for a longer amount of time, and we find ourselves, if you're watching this morning, we find ourselves in a position where what the Bible has told us over the years is literally coming to pass right now. And and one of the things that Jesus had told them that was going to come to pass, that they dreaded the most, understood the least, was that Jesus was going to leave them. Now, that time was quickly approaching. And so this passage of scripture talks about Jesus coming into Jerusalem riding on a donkey. Now, in his significance, his riding a donkey into the city is significant for several reasons. And I don't want to take a lot of time to go into all of them, but I'll go into some of them. If Jesus was riding into Jerusalem as a conquering king, he would have ridden in on a war horse. But Jesus still continued to reject the mantle of a warrior king. He came riding on a donkey, and that was not riding in as King of Kings and Lord of Lords, riding in ready to make all of the people submit to his authority, riding in to take charge of everything. And as the people gathered, I think if Jesus had wanted to, he probably could have taken Jerusalem that day, just because of the response of the people. The atmosphere was there, but Jesus rode in not as a conquering war hero, not as a conquering war king. He came in to the city not as a man of war and blood, but a man who is ready to be a sacrifice. Now, I think that a lot of times, if we're not careful, we put everything in the context of, the war and blood. Get what's ours. Don't let anybody walk on us. Don't anything. But I think it bears some thinking about: are we ready to be that person who makes the sacrifice? And I'm not saying necessarily that we're going to give our life, but I'm saying, are we ready? Are we giving our mindset? Is our mindset to fight and get what is ours, claim our throne, so to speak, or is our mindset that of Jesus, the mindset of one who is willing to sacrifice and serve others? So when Jesus rode into Jerusalem, from the time Jesus rode into Jerusalem, the changes were so rapid, the disciples felt like they were spinning inside a whirlwind. They were overcome by all the things happening. The Jewish leaders could see their livelihood being challenged on every side. Their belief system everything that they had taught for thousands of years and believed for thousands of years was being challenged. Their authority was challenged. They weren't used to, their authority was actually law, so they weren't used to that. Their authority was challenged. Their priesthood was challenged. And in fact, the truth is they never really recovered from this day, from this event. They never really recovered. Jesus had to make a decision. He knew what was going to happen, yet he decided to go to Jerusalem, even though he knew the suffering that would follow. The Jewish leaders, the Jewish religious leaders, they needed to decide what they were going to do. And they made woefully terrible decisions. They tried to stop praises to God. Now, listen, that's something that even the people there, what have been called the common people, knew wasn't what would happen. And of course, that's the saying of Jesus says, if these people stop praising me, then even the rocks and stones will cry out. So the people had to decide what to do. And this really isn't they're usually willing to go along with the flow. They're usually willing to follow someone's lead. And now they're having to make decisions on their own. And I think this is one of the things that Jesus did, and maybe it doesn't seem that was overtly done on purpose, but it was one of the things that Jesus did, that he caused people to have to make decisions. He caused them to have to decide what they were going to do on their own, not just listen to what someone says and say, oh, we've got to do that because they said it. He gave them some authority to make decisions on their own. So they saw a man riding into the city on a donkey, and they knew by tradition that this man was a king. And also, it meant they knew he was riding into the city in peace. So people had to decide how they were going to respond to that. Were they going to say, I see this guy riding in on a donkey, he's a real presumptuous fellow. Who does he think he is? Or are they going to say, this is a king, we need to welcome him like a king? And you know, and let's face it, this wasn't like today. There hadn't been any flyers put up. There hadn't been any announcements, no emails sent out, no prior announcement. They were at a place where they had to make decisions now. And the thing that they had to make that decision right there and then. Now, I'm not a person that likes to make decisions right now. Over the years, I've had to. And in my career, I had to make decisions. I had to make decisions on the spot. Thank God most of them were reasonable. But I like to think things over. I like to sit down and look at how things, and I like to make decisions. This wasn't that time, and we face times in our lives that we need to make decisions. Sometimes the rest of our life hinges on what we do in just a few minutes' time. So these people decided that Jesus was a king, and as a king, they were going to treat him as such. So they decided he was king, not only just king riding into, but they decided that he was king of their lives. And as they They ran, they got palm branches, they put them down for the donkey to walk on. Some took their outer garments and they laid them there. And then they began to cry out that, and they didn't care who saw them or what. They decided he was their king just 6 days before he was to be crucified. Now, we always are faced with decisions. We're faced with decisions what to do. We're faced with decisions of when to do things. We're faced with decisions. So these people had to decide at this point who Jesus was. So this morning, I want you to understand something. In time past, once I made up my mind, I felt better about having to make a decision. Sometimes I struggle with a decision for a long time, but once I made up my mind, I felt better about it. I'm not telling you I always made the right decision, but I will tell you that my decision to follow Jesus Christ was not only the most important decision in my life, it was the one that has most significantly changed my life. And I've been following the Lord for many years now, and it started one day when I had to make a decision. And I want you to understand, you may be there today, and you may be facing a time of decision. You may be facing a time when you need to make a decision. You might not need to make it this morning. Probably be best if you did, so you could enjoy the rest of the day. But sometimes we're faced with decisions that we have to make, or the opportunity quickly goes away. So what I want to share with you this morning, these people, as Jesus rode into Jerusalem, made a decision. Jesus made a decision before he rode into to Jerusalem. Jesus made a decision. Jesus made a decision many, many, many years before that he was going to be our sacrifice. The disciples made a decision to follow Jesus. Actually, some of them, Jesus walked up and said, follow me. And they left right then. You know, you think about the consequences of that. You think about, but the point is what we need to do is be ready to make the decision. And this morning, I'm going to tell you this. Don't wait to make the decision who Jesus is. He is King of Kings, Lord of Lords. He is coming back for us. All of the things that are happening in this world at this point to what was said about the second coming of Jesus, of Jesus coming back for us, the rapture of the church. All of the signs are there before us. And so I would encourage everyone, make your decision to follow Jesus and stick with it. No turning back. Keep looking forward. Listen, once you make the decision to go forward, it doesn't make any difference what's going on around you. You know that you're going to continue to do good because Jesus is with you. And I'm going to tell you, sometimes decisions are hard. Just because they're hard don't mean they don't have to be made. Sometimes they're not as hard. Actually, following Jesus, once I got to the decision-making part, wasn't that hard of a decision to make. It just didn't. And I think the people here, as he rode into Jerusalem that day, as they had to decide, was this guy just some joker coming in, acting like a king, or was he really a king? But I've always wondered what it would have been like there to be there that day and see thousands of people lining the walkway, throwing palm branches, putting their outer garments down to let a donkey walk on them. Because that shows they were all in. He was the king of their lives. So this morning, I pray just like mine, Jesus is the king of my life. I pray Jesus is the king of your life. And I pray that as you make that decision for Jesus, you remember, once you decide, there's no turning back. God bless you this morning. I pray that the Lord would just continue to keep you. Don't be so upset about all the stuff that's going on. Jesus has this all under control. He's had it under control from day one. He's going to keep it under control, and just enjoy being who you are, where you are, and enjoy the rest of your day. God bless you, and I pray that you have a blessed day.